Put your seatbelts on for this one. We got a fun guest coming up right now. Gilbert's a renowned fitness industry expert specializing in men's health challenges. Also a two-time Golf Digest 50 Golf Fitness Professional and Trainer Awards. She's highly sought after, unique approach for training, combines nutrition training, lifestyle hacks to alter body composition and optimize metabolism. So we got a lot to learn here, but at the same time, Allie tackles some conversations like, just look at the title, boners and biceps. She tackles conversations most people want to avoid. So we got a lot to learn here. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. She found her passion optimizing men's and women's health, working alongside industry leading medical professionals. She's building an authoritative network of empowering men and women to properly understand what true health optimization is. Her clientele consists of busy professionals who aspire to become stronger, optimize their health, plus conquer nutrition. She lectures internationally and nationally on various health topics, both medical and fitness arenas. And she's regularly featured on podcasts and publications. We're so lucky to have her. She's going to talk to us about testosterone, metabolism, golf fitness, men's health, some of the challenges that men have and couples have. And we're going to wrap it all into the I Choose Fitness movement here, because that's really what this is all about. It's taking control of your own health and fitness. And Allie is an expert, and we're going to have a lot of fun today. I'm almost a little bit nervous on where this conversation is going to go, but we're not going to pump the brakes. Fair enough. So stay tuned, watch. Here comes Allie, and let's bring her on. And there she is. Welcome, Allie.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so happy you were able to make it. We're excited to have you. Like I just told the audience, we're in for a lot of fun this morning. I don't know where our conversation is going to go, and that's what's exciting about you, because you could take it in so many different directions. You're very unique at what you provide for the world, and we want to dig in a little bit to find out what you do, how you do it, why it works, the clientele. But I guess let's just start with where we're coming from. What brought the I Choose Fitness Summit together is just what's happened in the last 15 months. The world's recovering from the worst pandemic ever. We've had lockdowns, shutdowns. People didn't have access to their own fitness. People's health is in the worst shape ever. They say the average person gained 3.5 pounds a month during COVID. So that's over 30 pounds for most people. So we've got a lot of work to do to get people back on track with health and wellness. Now, looking at that, do you feel that we're in a health epidemic right now, or is it just a mild concern that we need to look at?
I do think that people's awareness of their health status was brought to light quite quickly amongst this whole thing. So a lot of my clients, I don't have a ton of people who have significant comorbidities or illnesses or obesity. I have a couple, and they were definitely, afraid and realizing, okay, I need to kind of get my shit together, because like I asked them, I'm like, are you okay being scared to go play golf or being scared to leave your house and not be able to be active? Obviously the answer is no. So having to do something about that, and all of a sudden, like, yeah, this is kind of like what you prepare for. But, unless you have a certain deep extrinsic motivator to do stuff, people don't really want to change. And I think that this kind of helped nudge them in that direction.
Yeah, so you're saying that it kind of magnified what was there, as this thing landed over us, it magnified good and bad.
100%. Like, hey, if you're not strong, if you don't have a strong immune system, might want to start. Or like a lot of people, like, it's funny because my business increased because people realized, oh, I have to get my nutrition together. I have to get, active. I have to start really taking care of myself. So, and the mental health aspect too, which I know that, you've mentioned to a lot of people as well. That's a big part of it. And just everything that everyone kind of experienced, and the pressure and the stress and everything was kind of brought to the surface. And it's right. Like, hey, you got to deal with this. This is reality.
Right. Now, I noticed too, with your guerrilla training, you have courses that people can join up, whether it be from home or in the gym workouts, where they can, attack that. Is that created because of the lockdowns, or did you have that all along?
I had wanted to create something like that for a while. And then last year, when I turned 39, I was like, all right, I'm going to do 39 workouts for 39. And then I was like, all right, people like that. So now I'm going to create strict programs where instead of, if somebody doesn't want to pay for one-on-one coaching, if they don't, necessarily need somebody to keep them accountable, they just want a program written for them, then they can do a monthly fee and just get a new program every month that they can do either at home if they have any equipment at home or body weight or whatever, or they can go in the gym and do that. And because there was a significant demand for that, was kind of why it was like expediting the process. But that had been kind of something I wanted to create for a while, to have a very affordable option for people to kind of work with me, but not really. So it's not like direct communication, but my program.
Yeah, they get to see what your strengths are and what your teaching is all about. And obviously, like once somebody experiences that, now they want more. Now they want to say, okay, look, I got to connect. Allie, you got to get in here and help me out and steer me and guide me. And so what maybe they're putting their toe in and trying things out, after they see it, like it, and feel the results, they want more.
Yeah.
And you said something really important too, that people have to have a motivator, a why. Like we said, with I Choose Fitness, there's a reason why people actually make the decision to choose fitness. And that's the factor when you dig down deep enough and find out what is that why. So I'll play the perfect client for you. Let's say I'm a guy in my 50s. I let myself go. My metabolism, and this happened to me too a few years ago, my metabolism just shut off. Like I stopped eating altogether. Like I can't believe everything I eat turns to fat. I'm gaining weight, and I was kind of active, but not really active. And I didn't know what was happening to me. And like, I wasn't sure why my metabolism slowed down to almost nothing. So I would reach out to you and say, Allie, I can't live like this anymore. I need more energy. I'm not hitting the golf ball good. And I'd search you out and I'd find you. So I came to you thinking that I need strength training for my golf performance. But as we start working together, I find out there's a whole lot more here that unfolds like an onion. Is that how you see most of your clients' relationships develop?
Yeah, usually they'll come to me thinking they need golf fitness or they need just general fitness. And it turns into a conversation about like their childhood trauma and, how they handle stressors and what their sleep is like, what their stress management is like, what their home life is like, because all of that really affects how somebody's going to react. And it's really not so much about, all right, how much stress do you have in your life? Everyone has stress. It's how resilient can somebody be to it? And that will be the predicting factor of their success and progress, because we can talk about it all day long. Like, yeah, stress affects this. Unless you see it happen to you or experience it, you don't really understand what that means, because it's not necessarily something tangible. And then you're like, oh yeah, okay, pandemic. So like one big example was I do a lot of men's health consulting, and I have a lot of clients who are men over 35. And a lot of them I encourage to get lab work done and to explore testosterone optimization, to go on TRT. So with that, a lot of men experienced erectile dysfunction, which obviously is going to contribute to them feeling depressed and lethargic and just kind of like this meh feeling. And that increased tenfold during the pandemic. And so I was having many conversations regarding erectile issues, especially in guys in their 30s, because they're like, I'm too young for this. Like, this shouldn't happen. And I'm the one to tell them they're not alone. And this is normal, because it's not so much testosterone that really affects a man's erection. And we can like get into the science if you want, but it's a lot of stress. And the way I explain it to guys is like, for my fitness professionals, if you're in the middle of a squat and you're pushing really hard and this is a maximum effort and a woman walks by naked in front of you, it's really hard to switch gears. And for those who aren't fitness professionals, like say you have a deadline or you're on your computer and you've got 20 minutes to get, a report in or something, and somebody walks in front of you, again, it's really hard to switch gears. So you have to be in a state of relaxed, less stress, all that physiologically to be able to get a boner, right? So if you're not, then that's a problem. And so pandemic stress was really that cloud of stress over men very long time for a long time. So they were starting to question whether if they were on testosterone, oh my God, my protocol doesn't work anymore. Or they were thinking my testosterone is super low, or I have problems, or I'm less of a man and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, it's stress. Trust me, we can mitigate this. So it's kind of like the long answer.
No, and there's so much to unpack there because as you started talking, I'm thinking this isn't a conversation guys have with guys, you know. I mean, obviously, this is where you landed. Guys don't talk to guys about it. Guys probably have a hard time telling their wife about it because it's not you, it's me type of thing. But who wants to admit that? Then they want to deny it from themselves. This is, and the way you're describing it, like if we claim this talk and we put a label on it called it, you know, boners and biceps, right? And because I saw that in one of your podcasts, people, you're going to prejudge what you think you're about to hear. But as you just explained that, you're describing a symptom that happens to people, not a problem. Like that erectile dysfunction is a symptom of the problem. Now, when you're working with them, you find the problem and you help them fix the problem. And that's game changing for a lot of people and a lot of wives. And they have to be standing in the background going, go, Allie, go, you know, let's fix this together. Right.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like, you know, everyone's like, well, do you start the conversation that way? And I'm like, no, I'm not like, hi, my name's Allie. How's your erection? Like, hey, do you have morning wood? Like, what's up? It just evolves to that. But now like people know what they're getting into when they contact me because of my social media. And because I normalize the talk about this, they are not so like guarded when they come to me. They message me and that they're like, you know, some guys are like, it took me months to gain the courage to reach out to you, but this is what I'm dealing with. And I guess this is normal considering what I've seen you speak about. Right. And that means everything to me because like men need a safe place to talk about this. And like you said, they're not going to talk about this with their guy friends, with their wives or girlfriends, but having another female entity who is recognizing that this is normal is like, oh, okay. So like maybe women won't think that I'm broken or, you know, just crazy or whatever for dealing with this. And so bringing that to light and being able to point them in the right direction as to how do we solve this is basically what I do. Like I'm the advocate for like, all right, this is the men's health issue that we're dealing with, and this is the direction we have to go. So yes, they come to me for certain fitness stuff. They don't think they're going to be talking about like, you know, their morning wood with me, but that's honestly like, you know, very few people, if it's more like in-person clients, everyone online, they know what I do. They know what they're getting into. And so they trust that, you know, I will keep their information safe, obviously. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, in most cases too, like in most businesses, and I don't want to go down the wrong rabbit hole here, but you get testimonials. People are excited about the results they're seeing, and yours, they might be afraid to give you testimonials, you know, because now they're putting it out there that, hey, you know, I had problems, you know, in the bedroom and now I don't anymore. Is that, you run into that all where there's relief that it's being fixed, but they don't want to run around bragging about it either.
So I always, before I share anything, I always ask permission. And I will preface that with, I am happy to cut off your name, cut off your head, cut off like whatever, if it's a photo, if it's a screenshot of a text. So that's usually what I do. Because there have been times where guys have texted me also that they've been able to get their wives pregnant, which is a whole process within itself that maybe they don't know about talking with their doctor and stuff. But the fact that like, I mean, I've had guys in their 70s that have walked in my office and been like, I was able to have sex 4 times this week. And I'm like, yeah, like, you know, and then I'm like, can I talk about this conversation on social media? And, you know, I use a different name and stuff, but yeah, so that's kind of, you know, people are shy about that and rightfully so. So I don't necessarily air somebody's dirty laundry. However, I'll change the name, I'll change their age by a year or 2. So then nobody can really guess who it is.
And it's an important conversation because a lot of people, it's going on everywhere and no one talks about it, so no one realizes how common it is. And you said something, you recommend testosterone when you go to your doctor, get tested for your testosterone levels. I go to the doctor every year. I've never had a doctor add that to my blood work. Never.
Yeah.
Is that common?
Yes. So if you go for your physical, you're not going to get sex hormones. It's just not it's not what they look for. Similar to like life insurance. They do the most basic things, right? So when I tell somebody, if you want to ask your GP if they'll run testosterone, great. Make sure it does not cost anymore. But when it comes to wanting to function optimally, you have to be ready to pay out of pocket. And that's just kind of the way our system works. We're all familiar with how healthcare works. So anything that is preventative or more about being optimal or catching stuff before it becomes a problem, you have to go out of pocket. And it's not necessarily the end of the world. Like, the reason being is, health insurance is kind of like they work like a nightclub when it comes to lab work. So if you come in with a list and you give that to your doctor and you're like, I want to run all these hormones, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, sure. And he runs it through whatever health insurance. You may get a surprise bill for like $5,000 just because they can mark it up. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Go to a nightclub, you get a bottle of vodka. They can mark it up for $900 if they want, for no reason whatsoever. Whereas if you pay out of pocket, you actually know what you're paying and then you're done. And usually a extensive good hormone panel for a man or a woman is around $300 to $350. So that's not crazy, but it's an investment in your health. And all right, cool. I paid $350. I'm out $350. Not surprised $3,500 later on. So, and then, the real problem is, well, okay, if your test levels come up lower, what do you do about it? There's this range of testosterone that's highly arbitrary. So many doctors will say, well, you're in range, you're normal, but you can be 30 years old and have very low testosterone, but still be normal, because the range is an average of everyone in America, whether they're sick, overweight, whoever it is, age, whatever, it doesn't matter. So the range is around like, it used to be 250 to 1100. It's since been lowered twice in the last couple decades because men's levels are declining. So they're making it harder for men to obtain testosterone replacement. So to go by insurance, for insurance to cover it, you have to be within this range. So another reason to kind of go out of pocket, because then you can work around that. Doctors who are very evolved in hormone optimization, which are going to not be general practitioners or endocrinologists and stuff, it's going to be an anti-aging specialist. They know that that range is kind of BS and that you want to be at the higher level, if not above that arbitrary range. So you want a doctor who understands that, because if they just look at the paper, it doesn't do you any good, because you can be, again, 35, 40, whatever. It doesn't matter what age you are, but if you have symptoms and the symptoms show and align with what are on the paper, there's something that should be done about that. Mm-hmm. And men often don't get the care that they need, or they'll get handed a antidepressant, which is very similar, the symptoms, to low testosterone. Not feeling motivated, feeling lethargic, brain fog, just like lack of ambition, lack of focus, like all of those things can be symptoms of low testosterone, but may be looked at as depression. You get handed an antidepressant, erectile dysfunction gets worse. You don't feel any better. A lot of politics and ethics go into it, but I don't go into that. I just say, listen, find someone who specializes in this, and they're going to put you in the right path to get you where you need to be.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate goal for all of us is we want to look better, we want to feel better, and removing some of these obstacles from both of those are important to us. But what you just did is you brought it to a level of awareness that even myself, I'm pretty fit. I work out, I take care of myself, I go to the doctor, I try and pay attention to my body. And I had no idea that any of this was going on in the background until just now, Yeah. And that's going on everywhere, and so the mission that you're on is, you're coming at it from a different angle, but the results are the same. We all want to look better and feel better, and part of that is, how we feel within our relationships, how we feel in our body. You get out of the shower and you look in the mirror. Are you hiding? You closing your eyes? You turning from it? Or you're looking at it and go, man, I look good, which is what we all want as well.
And I always say in my lectures, I'm like, there's three things that people come to us for mainly. Number one is to look good naked. I don't know anyone, even if they say golf fitness, that means look good naked. I don't care what you maybe I've had one guy, he was like 77, who was like, I don't give a shit what I look like. I just want to hit the ball. Okay, fine. One person still. The majority want to look good naked. Number two, they want to poop every day. You cannot believe the amount of people that poop like twice a week or that are constipated and they think that's normal. If I can get you pooping daily, how awesome is that? Like pooping efficiently, it should be talked about. And number three is sleeping. So if I can get you looking great naked, pooping every day, and sleeping like a rock, I think I've done my job.
Wow.
Right. And then all of those three collectively will help produce better erections, more sex, more activity, more ambition for life and stuff. But you're right. Like it's okay. I mean, we've kind of created this like environment where people who want to look better should be like suppressed for that. And I don't think that's right. Yes, we can celebrate people of all shapes and sizes, but there comes a point where it's unhealthy and it's okay to want to look a certain way. And I always ask my guys who come to me and they say, I want to get shredded. I'm like, all right, send me a photo of someone you think is shredded because I need to know what that means to them. Because to me, as somebody who lives and breathes fitness, shredded is a high level of commitment and a lot of sacrifice and veins on the abs. Okay, not everybody wants that. Some guys, when they say shredded, they say like, all right, I just want my abs to kind of show through and I want to lose a little weight. Great, because the commitment level between what you're describing and what I'm thinking is so big that that's why I ask for a photo. And I've gotten all different photos. I've gotten like Tiger Woods. I've gotten, Ryan Reynolds. I've gotten different wrestlers, like, people who have these quote, I guess you would say dad bods or whatever. They have maybe a 4-pack, not a 6-pack. Okay, cool.
Right.
At least I know what you're looking to get, right? So, I don't have to necessarily make you feel like you have to deprive yourself. And so it's, helpful to understand what your client wants and what they actually want to get out of their journey with fat loss and muscle gain.
Yeah. And I know when we talk about I choose fitness, it's a decision to put health as a priority. Now, fitness means different things to different people. Right. But one of the things all the experts agree on is the level of fitness you attain you have to increase, it has to be through exercise and nutrition and mindset. If you leave one of those three out, whether you want to get shredded like one of the pictures you're talking about, or you just want to feel better and move better and have more energy, you still have to have all three or you're going to undo it. Like if you work out in the gym all day long and go home and eat like crap, guess what? That workout is going to be undone over time. And if you have a horrible mindset or you quit halfway through your workouts, then the same thing's going to happen. You agree with that? Is that part of like you talk a lot about nutrition? Is that because the blend of nutrition and exercise are critical?
Yeah, because that whole phrase, like you can't out train a bad diet, stuff like that. They've done the research on this. Like there's a tribe in Tanzania called the Hadza tribe, which are pretty much like the last hunter-gatherers to be on Earth. And they went and studied them because their output throughout the day, they're walking, they're hunting, they're gathering literally all day long. They wanted to see if their metabolism was any different than the standard American. And it wasn't, despite them walking 10 to 12, upwards of 20 miles a day. No different. So you're actually better off dieting and watching your calories than trying to exercise more because it's not going to make a difference.
Wow. I never heard that.
Yeah.
So what's the connection between testosterone and exercise then?
So, like anything, if you don't fuel your body with enough food to support your training and your output, and this happens a lot with people who like to exercise a lot or do CrossFit, a lot of very high intensity stuff, but not eat a lot because they think, all right, if I eat less and exercise more, that will get me to where I want to look. The problem with that is it will work instantaneously for a few weeks. And then all of a sudden hunger kicks in, cravings kick in, lethargy kicks in. The problem with not eating enough is that your body will say, oh, okay, well, the calories you're giving me, I'm going to, prioritize that to your organs and to keeping you alive. So anything that's not necessary, like an erection, we're just going to do away with for a while. So we can lower our testosterone and sex hormones because we don't need to procreate because we're not supporting ourselves with enough energy for that. And so then over time, as people beat themselves into the ground with more and more exercise and less food, I don't know anyone who's really like, hey, I love to procreate right now. Like I can totally get it on, bodybuilders on stage, like literally if you did their blood work, you would think, okay, this person's going to die. Like that's how depleted they are. They look amazing,
right?
But there's no way that they'd be able to go have sex. Like, so, it's having an appreciation for the whole process, but also the longer you play the game, the better off you are. And the leaner that you get, the slower the weight loss should be. It shouldn't be this rapid fat loss.
So here's a general question. Can you train too much? Like if you're eating well, should you have an off button for your training as well?
Yeah, because it's all about more intensity, really. So there are people who will train a lot, but they don't necessarily train hard. And those type of people are the ones who go to the gym, socialize, maybe get a couple sets in, whatever. And then they do that 6 to 7 times a week. I'm talking about maybe like 4 days a week is really the high level programs that I'll write for people. You don't really need any more than that lifting. Mm-hmm. If you get after it, get done with it, you're good. So there are times where it's like too much exercise is this point of diminishing returns because it's not going to help. You still have to recover as hard as you train. And people don't want to do that because they'll beat themselves in the ground in the gym. But then you say, go get a massage. And they're like, I don't have time.
Right. So shifting gears to the nutrition side of it, then, is there a good way for the average person to improve their nutrition levels? Like what would you recommend?
So for the basic level is take in enough protein. That is the one thing that if I change only that, people will see a difference. No one eats enough protein. Somehow we decided meat was scary and causes cancer, which it doesn't. So if it had parents or a face, please eat it. And I would take in like a minimum of 1 gram per pound of body weight. Start there. That's it. Keep everything else. Just eat your protein first because it's a lot harder to eat 5 chicken breasts than it is 5 donuts. And I've challenged people, just fill up on protein and vegetables all day long. Just try it. It's very difficult when you do a certain level of calories through real food. It's really hard because it's very dense. Protein is the one macronutrient that is very difficult to store as fat. Like the process that it requires your body to go through to put it into fat storage is so energy expending that it's like, forget it. You can overeat protein, no problem, really.
Wow.
And so that's why I have people eat very high protein diets. And there's also what is called a high thermic effect, which means a lot of energy is burned processing your protein. So you actually burn calories through eating. It's kind of cool.
So why does the traditional medical industry ignore this?
They go by the RDA, which they're starting to change though, because the RDA is like 60 to 70 grams is yes, that's enough to make you not die. That's all they care about. But they don't really, again, they don't look at people being optimal. They just look at making sure you don't die.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that was interesting. One of the conversations we had with Dr. Clapper, he said they actually went back to when they're graduating medical school, they have 8 years medical school, but only 18 hours of training on nutrition in 8 years. 8 years. And he said the reason is it's not on the exam. So they spent all this money hiring all these professionals and experts to get these questions written up. So now they're going to be part of the exam, which means now they're going to start learning about it when they're going to graduate. So that's a small change that's going to make a big difference over time.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. Because again, doctors don't learn this. So it's not something that you should necessarily go to your doctor for.
Okay, let me, we'll do like a rapid fire. Good or bad for your diet? Sugar.
It depends.
Okay. Like sugar and fruits, is that what you mean by it depends, or sugar altogether? Because you'll hear some people say avoid it.
Yeah, sugar's not bad. Honestly, it's now context is very important here. If you're a diabetic, type 2 diabetic, obviously we have some stuff to worry about. If you're insulin resistant, we have some things to worry about. But generally, sugar is not something that should be demonized to the point that it is. It can be actually very useful, especially right after your training is when your body kind of sucks up any sugar and stores it in the muscle. So context dependent.
Sugar and fruit different than general sugar you get from foods.
It is, yeah. So it's how do I explain this? It's stored differently, and there is like a ceiling that you can eat too much fruit, but I don't know anyone really who eats too much fruit unless you are this one girl who promotes a banana only diet, but I do not recommend that.
Wow.
One banana a day is fine, not 30. So.
And that's what's confusing too. Every time you log onto the internet, you hear this new fad that comes through and you go, oh, maybe I should try that because I want those results.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And like fruit used to be demonized too, because it was sugar and like, especially in the physique world, like, oh, you know, carrots or carbs, fruits, but like, no.
Well, what about carbs? Carbs, is that a good or a bad, or that depends also?
Carbs, again, I mean, they're amazing. I think they get a very, very bad rep. And, you know, our industry or our society swings the pendulum where we've had several different versions of the keto diet. The keto diet was created in the 1800s originally. It's not new, but Atkins diet, South Beach diet, those are all versions of the keto diet. In the 90s and the 80s, when I grew up, low fat was the way to go. And now we went all the fat in the coffee, celery juice, paleo, like there's so many different things that it's really what works best for you. And I don't like putting labels on diets because it makes it hard for people to stick to. I tell them the best way for you to eat is the way that you can eat for the rest of your life. Some people are going to do better on higher carbs. Some people are going to do horrible on high carb. It's dependent upon their activity level, how hard they're training, how healthy they are. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. So you just have to experiment and then go from there.
That's actually a relief to hear, because you always feel like you're doing things wrong. And then that attitude of why bother sets in. Like, I don't know. I mean, this is bad. This is no good. You have a conversation with somebody and they demonize your diet that you picked. So I like the way you broke it down, like proteins and veggies. There's people that you can get a lot of great proteins from plant-based only diets. So if that's what you're into, go get all those proteins from plants. If that doesn't matter to you, get it from your meats and your chickens. But get proteins and veggies into your system on a regular basis. Right.
It's I remember I tweeted at some point this year or last year saying nutrition is really simple, but we complicate it. Nobody ever went wrong eating protein and vegetables, and then you sprinkle in fat and carbs as needed. And you would have thought like I said something to offend someone's sister or whatever. People came after me. They're like, why are you promoting orthorexia, which is like an obsession of food? Or why are you saying no carb diets? I'm like, I didn't say no carb diet. I said carbs depending upon activity level, but you can't say anything without upsetting somebody. But a lot of people obviously were positive about it. It was one of my most retweeted tweets because it is so true. It's very simple. We're the ones that complicate it because we overthink everything and we're, you know, reading the news or the media or the next fad. Don't worry about a fad. A fad is a fad for a reason. It's short-lived and it goes away. And you may have tried a keto diet. You may have tried a paleo diet. There's a reason why you're not on it anymore. It doesn't mean it worked. When someone says, oh, keto worked really well for me. Okay, so if it worked well for you, then why are you seeing me now? Well, I gained 5 pounds more than I lost. Okay, so it didn't work. It wasn't sustainable. We have to find the approach that is.
Sustainable is such a key word there too, because everything does work temporarily. You can just stop eating and you're going to lose weight. You can go on a water only diet and you're going to lose weight, but you can't sustain that. That's a good word.
Correct.
Here's some controversy. I think social media bought you. You were wearing a shirt in one of your posts that said, creatine is the new gateway drug, or creatine is a gateway drug. Explain that for me out of curiosity.
Creatine gets, especially from parents of teenagers, I don't know why, they think it's like steroids. So it's naturally occurring in red meat. I mean, it's something that your body needs. So that was just like a joke on everyone who worries about it being a steroid.
Well,
It's not a steroid.
the reason I asked about it is I have a son who's first year of college, plays 2 sports. He's really into working out, lifting, staying in shape. He's a good athlete. And he came home with a little bottle of creatine one time after working out with one of his trainers. And I took that and I threw it away. And I was like, you watch what you put in your body. And then I start reading on it. I'm looking, Dr. Google tells you everything wrong with everything, right?
Yeah.
So I'm lecturing him on it. And later I'm having a conversation with another trainer, and they were talking about the benefits of creatine if used properly. And so I was like, wow. I mean, I really freaked as a parent thinking, look at this kid. He's going to be on steroids next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so when I saw your shirt, I go, I think I know where this is going to go.
Yeah, it honestly, I want everyone on creatine. I mean, it has a lot of cognitive benefits as well. So, I mean, it's just a great thing to have. So,
That's really cool. All right. So one mistake I made all year. That's the only one so far. Now let's look at mindset for a second. Like, what can people do to work on that mindset to, stay focused, stay positive, not give up when things aren't working out the way they want it to, or they're not seeing the results they want? What do you do to help with that?
So this is like, it comes up a lot because the way that I approach my coaching is I'm not the transformation person. I'm not the quick fix person. Like I'm the person where you have the before and after picture. And I'm worried about the after picture, because I don't care about this 3-week transformation, 3-month transformation. I want to see a year after. If you've kept that weight off, that's something that worked, because the best transformation and the most successful one is the one that you can sustain for the rest of your life. So the way I approach it is playing the long game. So sometimes people come to me very unhealthy. We've got to get them in a place where maybe they weren't eating enough. We've got to get their calories up. They may gain weight at first in order to be able to lose it later on. So they've got to really be comfortable getting uncomfortable. But when it gets hard and it feels like you're not making any changes or anything, we've always wished we could show people what's going on inside their body at this time, because there are a lot of good things happening. And when you push through that point of suckiness, you come out the other side and everything's just so much easier. And I've gone through this personally, like chronically restricting calories. Most women in our fitness industry do that. A lot of guys do, actually. Most of my guys do. So there comes a point where you can only eat so little calories with so much exercise, where your body now is like running like a Prius almost versus running like a high performance sports car. So it's operating on such a low level that really anything above what you were eating before, you'll actually gain weight. So you've got to increase your training in a way that aligns with your nutrition to get your calories up, to get your metabolism running again. But that takes time. And if you take somebody from eating nothing to eating more, you're just eating more in general, which, okay, if you stand on a scale with a banana, you're going to weigh more holding that banana. So you have more food in you, more fecal matter, the scale's going to go up. It doesn't mean it's body fat. Your body's storing more energy. It doesn't mean it's body fat. So, I went through that where it took 9 months to get my metabolism back to where it was. I gained only 6 pounds, but now I'm in the best shape of my life because I went through that sucky part. So if they can kind of see the forest through the trees, then it makes our life so much easier as coaches. And that's why, we're there to talk people through that, because it's going to get hard, because nothing worth doing is easy. These quick fix transformations, they're really not that difficult to do. You starve for like a little bit of time and then exercise a lot, and then the weight comes off, but then it always slaps you in the face and comes back plus more. Mm-hmm. So it's one of the tougher things to do, especially if you've done multiple of these transformations. But I can promise you that I am all about getting somebody in a place where they can now do this intelligently, and they don't have that rebound weight gain. They can actually keep the weight off, because the slower you go, the more likely you're going to keep it off the rest of your life.
Now, I ask everybody about their choices. Like, fitness is a choice. There's different levels of fitness. And everyone has a reason, like why do you choose fitness? And some people say, I choose it to be a role model. I choose it for my family. I choose it for more energy. I choose fitness to, just live longer and enjoy the last 10 years of my life. So Ali, let me ask you, why do you choose fitness?
Oh man, I like looking good. I'm not afraid to say that. I like seeing how I can change my body, how I can build new muscles. I'll be 40 in October and I've never looked like this. And so it's kind of cool. And I think the demographic that I handle with men, they appreciate what goes into looking like this. So it sounds weird, but like it's okay to be as muscular as I want to be because guys want to look like that. I would probably scare most women because they don't want to look overly muscular, which
Right.
I don't know if I am in that category, but the pictures I post tend to jive more with the guys where they're like, oh man, like, I want to develop that in my back and stuff like that. So I think that's cool because you could actually manipulate a part of you that requires so much hard work and patience and the whole process. I've been, quote, prepping for my wedding for like 2 years now. And the changes I've made from my original wedding date of April 2020 to now, I'm like, oh my God, this is really cool. Like I had a motivating factor, but I'm like, I'm not going to stop this weekend when our wedding is. Like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do a photo shoot. Like maybe I'll compete again. Like, I don't know, it's just fun because it just keeps you like in check. And it's a great, nothing feels better than being strong and looking good and all that. So
Awesome answer. And the wedding is a great motivator because you're going to capture that moment in time. You're going to get a lot of photos done. You're going to do your photo shoots. Like it or not, everybody captures that moment in time. You had a chance to change that moment in time because of the lockdowns, shutdowns, and the postponements. And just so the audience knows, and I don't want to embarrass you, but you did something most people wouldn't do. Like you've got that 10-day period between now and your wedding date coming up. You're about to, button everything up and travel out of here. And you made room for this on a Sunday. Like we're recording this on a Sunday. I don't know many people that would do that. And you said, Bob, let's see if we can get it to work. I told you what the schedule's like. All right, well, can you do it Sunday? Like that to me gives me chills that people care that much about giving back, that they're willing to do what you're doing right now. And everyone that's ever had a wedding knows what this week is like.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No one tells you should take 2 weeks off before.
You should. You really should. And then don't answer any emails from somebody asking to set up an interview either. Because
well, you mentioned Tom, so I'm like, oh, this must be important.
Good. Well, we really appreciate it. I'm sure the audience, this was probably going to be one of the most watched ones out of all the episodes because I've enjoyed every minute of it. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I want to be respectful of that. But honestly, I could go another hour just picking your brain. This is really good stuff. But let's talk to the person right now that's watching this. They're hesitant. They're a little concerned. They've tried and failed in the past. They've done the challenges and they lost weight, put it right back on. They lost 60, gained 70, things like that. They're hearing this and going, wow, maybe there's a chance for somebody like me. What would you say to that person?
I would say for them to be ready to actually want to change. And what I've noticed is that when people don't actually really want to change, they're not going to see this process through. You don't have to repeat these transformations over and over again if you go through it and do it the right way just one time. And it's different with everybody as to how long it'll take. Because they always ask, well, how long will it be to fix me? I don't know. Some people it's been 3 months. Some people it's upwards of a year. Everyone's different. But just be ready to commit because the satisfaction of committing to something for so long is such a great prize. And I'm not going to steer you wrong. And me or any other coach who has a similar approach, we're not in it to, if I wanted to make a lot of money, I would churn people out within 3 months. Goodbye, see you later. Like, awesome. No, I want you to invest in your health and your wellness for a significant period of time, however long you want that to be, but just be ready. Just make sure you're ready. Have that conversation with yourself and be ready because that's what's going to be the game changer is when somebody's like had enough. They're sick of feeling how they feel. They don't want to look that way anymore. And they're realizing, you know what, the quick fix is not the way to go. I'm ready to make a significant change.
And commitment, like the word commitment, as you're talking, I just feel like everybody's like, yeah, I'm ready to commit, because you paint such a good picture too. This isn't the like the get rich quick type, or take a pill and you'll look good, like some of the people are promoting. You're brutally honest with people, including the way you just answered that. I don't know how long it's going to take. Everybody's a little bit different. But now we're bringing together the medical industry, fitness industry. We've got school boards on board here. So all these industries are now starting to come together. In the mental health industry, if they start working together, what do you see the world becoming if we put health at the top priority again?
Oh my gosh, we would be stronger as a society. I mean, we need everyone to work together. I mean, I work with a bunch of doctors now, especially because of pandemic. The telemedicine laws changed. So I have multiple doctors that are on my board, I guess you could say, that I can refer people to. And working together has been huge, because I had been battling GPs and doctors who just didn't get it over certain concerns about getting guys on testosterone replacement when they really, really need it. And there's all these concerns over it causing heart attacks and cancer. I will look all of you in the eyes. I don't know where that will be. I think it's right here. That does not happen. So all those concerns, all of those, whatever studies somebody's referring to, have been upended, refuted over and over again. They actually treat prostate cancer with testosterone with some approaches that are evolved. So trust me, there's absolutely really no reason why somebody should not go on testosterone replacement if it's their time to go on it. It's one of the safest things. So that being said, getting guys on the proper management of a testosterone replacement protocol has now amplified their ability to be present in every other aspect of their life: fatherhood, work, relationships, their own relationship with themselves. Their health has increased tenfold, their ability to recover from training. Like all, I'm not saying everyone run and go out, get on TRT, but I don't know why we don't talk about it more, that it's pretty much inevitable that men will end up on it. Mm-hmm. Most men, if not all, because the rates are declining so rapidly in guys. And I ranted the other day. I had one of my followers message me. His doctor told him his testosterone was too high, and he's not even on TRT. So he naturally had high levels of testosterone. And because that is so abnormal lately, the doctor said it's too high. He's 30 years old. I was like, okay, so what was the proposed solution to that? Like, are you going to go tell every teenage boy that, hey, your testosterone is too high? Like, oh my God. And I literally got so upset. And that's how like, I really love what I do, because I was like, this cannot be the norm. Like, you can't tell somebody like that we're in an epidemic of men's low testosterone, and you're going to tell somebody who has a natural high level, who is lucky enough to have a natural high level, that it's too high. Like, no. So anyway, if we can all work together towards the same goal of just getting somebody healthy, and then their nutrition's on board, everybody wins.
Right.
Everyone's job is easier. There's no competition. Like, I've referred out to other trainers. I've referred to other like, I know what I don't know. And when I get presented with like a female hormone issue that's complicated, I have no idea. Like, I know more about men's health than women's. It's weird, I know, but being a woman, but I do, like, with hormone replacement for women, I don't know as much, and I'm okay answering that. I'll handle your nutrition, your training, but when the hormone stuff, I have to, outsource that. So I think if everyone didn't have this fear of like all the clients being taken and be able to work as a team, then definitely everyone will win.
I think we're seeing some of that because of COVID. I mean, it really is bringing industries together that didn't really get along. And just like you said, I didn't even realize that about you working that close with doctors because of this. And telemedicine is a big deal too. That's awesome.
There's a coach that I know. He includes in his like onboarding process, he has a, I'm not sure if it's a psychologist or I'm not sure her actual title. He includes a session with that person already wrapped into his price of his onboarding, which I think is brilliant, and I would like to explore, maybe, because a lot of people's relationships with food end up being a result of their childhood trauma. And no one makes that connection until you actually start talking about it. Like if you were told to clean your plate all the time, you're going to clean your plate all the time as an adult. You're going to have this scarcity mindset, or you're going to say, oh, free food is the best food. And you're going to eat it because it's free, not because you, or, you know, it's food or whatever. So,
Right.
And like anything that if somebody had an eating disorder, you know, all that stuff comes from childhood, whether we want to admit it or not. I don't have the background to necessarily handle that to the depth that it should be. And everyone, I think, can benefit from therapy. I think it's been a lot more normalized now than it ever has before, where, hey, talking to somebody who has an objective view on everything, not a bad idea.
Right.
Especially when people were alone so much last year.
We have one of the largest gyms in the country, NAC in Pennsylvania, they this year installed a full-time doctor. They run their practice out of the gym.
I love that.
Never heard of that before. So they've actually, you know, I mean, that's their waiting room is the gym. And it happens to be 250,000 square feet. So that's a pretty big waiting room.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. That's something that I think we will explore down here in Florida, because there's a lot of places that are, you know, anti-aging. They have them at like Wawa, like literally they're on every corner. Now, if they do it right, it's another conversation. But, you know, having the ability to have hormone optimization, have nutrition, physical therapy, like all of that should be under one roof, done where everyone's in alignment. So.
And people like you and your mission are bringing in the level of awareness up. Like I learned a real lot on this call, almost to the point where I'm embarrassed what I don't know. Like, wow, this is just so simple to understand and comprehend, yet no one's talking about it. And my own doctors aren't talking about it. And I got an appointment in 2 weeks, so he's going to get an earful when I go to visit him. Why don't you talk to me about important things?
Yeah, because they'll say you don't need to worry about it. I mean, I've heard everything.
Right.
Guys are like, oh yeah, my doctor said I look fit. And I'm like, so that's a reason not to test your hormones? Like, okay.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I'll circle back and let you know for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Allie, I appreciate your time more than I can tell you. We really want to wish you a happy wedding, and hopefully everything from today forward moves nice and smooth for you.
Thank you so much.
When we're ready to go live too, I'll let you know. Maybe we can pull you back in for one of the panelists. We're gonna have some live Q&A at that time too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well, you have a great wedding, great day, and a great week, and we will talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Have a great day.